What's up, everybody? In this video, I'm going to be showing you a really cool plugin, in my opinion, called Nerdy's Custom Entity Models. Now, this is a recommendation from one of my comments. So as you can see from this little example, is basically you can add custom models, and you can make it to where it has all that, like it equips different things like red eyes, whatever models that you want. So it only works for MCreator 2025.3. And this plugin works for 1.21.1 and 1.20.1. So you can go ahead and download it now. And then we'll move on to the next part, which is in Blockbench. For this part is pretty important. Make sure everything's pivoted how you want it to be. So like the right arm, it's pivoted up here. So that's how it's going to look whenever like I swing my arm and all that. Or it could just be for, this could turn into an entity. So then what you want to do is File, Export, Java Entity, save it to wherever you want, then we'll go ahead and go to MCreator. Alright, so here we are in MCreator. Now what you can go ahead and do is Resources, and then Import Java 3D Model, and then import your model. Do OK. Alright, so then you'll be greeted with this. Now, it's not necessary to have animations here, but if you want to, you could, which I'm going to override it, but I'll just go ahead and show you what it is. Like head animation, you would do like scroll up till you find head movement animation, body animation, whatever. So I'll just cancel override so I can keep the no animations. So then what you want to do is just make sure it's there. So mine's there. Texture file, import texture file, entity texture, and then import your the texture for the model. Alright, so here I imported it, and then you can go to mod elements. Plus, and you might see this new thing, see human model. That's what you want to press. So click on that, and I'm just going to name this tutorial model, and then should automatically have it in there. That's what mine is. Body parts, this is important. Head is basically what the bone groups are. So mine was head. Body, put a body. Arm, left arm. Right arm is right arm, and just whatever models you want to be, the arms, legs, body, and all that. So then you can go ahead and save this. Now, here's the important part. Go to variables, and then click on add new variable. You're going to create two new variables. One for the model, one for the texture of the model. Click add new variable, and for this, put on global session. That way it's just like permanent in that world. But then block state, click on that, change it to model. Variable name, I'm just name it whatever you want. Mine's just going to be tutorial model. I'll name it that. So then it should look like this. Initial value, it's null. It's going to be because you're going to set it to the model in the procedure. And then click here, global session, block state, change that to texture location. And this is going to be, I'm just going to name it derp texture because that's what it looks like. And then however many models you have, like let's just say you imported 5 models, you would add in total 5 model variables and then like 5 texture variables, unless you're sharing the same texture. Now you can go back to mod elements, click the plus, press P for procedure, and this is I'm going to name it set variables. So then for here, what you want to do, click on this. Alright, so then what you want to do is click on filter, type in after, and then you should see after model registration. Click on that. That is going to be how it's going to set the variable. This is going to be the main variable setting procedure. What you can do now is go to custom variables. Now then you scroll down until you find set global tutorial model or whatever you have, and then like basically find the purple and then the orange. Drag out both of those. And then you can drag these up here. And then go to custom variables again. Click on Nerdy's CEM. And then do model procedures. Get new instance of entity model. And then once you select, make sure it's the human model that you created. And then for the texture procedures, get new entity texture instance. Set that to whatever yours is. So mine was Funny Steve, so that's what mine's going to be. Save mod element. You're done with that. Now it's time to make the player be able to turn into that awesome creation I just made. So I'm going to create a new procedure, press B, and then I'm going to do set players model. I'm just going to do simple like that. And then for no additional triggers, this is important. If it's a mob that you're setting to that model, do entity render on entity rendering. But if it's a player, do on player rendering. That is important. Otherwise, it's going to cause errors. So then put on player rendering or whatever you want to be able to turn into the model, which I'm going to do player. Let's see. So how about I make it to where if you drink a strength potion, for instance, it'll make you turn into it. So I'm going to go to search procedure blocks. So I'm going to type in potion, has active potion, click on here, type in strength, and then go to flow control, if do, drag that out if I can. There we go. Drag that in there. So it should look like this so far for me. Or if you're following along as well. Alright, so then what you want to do now is in order to be able to change how the player will look, go to advanced, cancel event that triggered global trigger. Nerdy CEM, go here, and then for the model, do on player rendered, and then here's where the fun stuff is. Or on entity rendered, all this stuff. There's a lot of things you can do. Like there's add cape physics, lots of stuff you can do. Is local player in first person? Okay, it will detect if you're in first person. Is the player using slim arms? Now, the one that we're going to be looking for is not render model. It's render humanoid model. This is how it's going to basically copy the player's animations. And if it's render model, it's just going to use the overrided animations, which I didn't override and left at no animations. So if I do render model, it's just going to be no animations. So that's going to be boring. So we want to do render humanoid model. So it copies the player's every move. Now, if you notice, it says on player with texture, get global derp texture. Now, if we go back to set variables, the derp texture is set to the Funny Steve texture that we made. So we go back here, keep that there, unless you have something else. So render humanoid model, tutorial model, that's the one we're going to be using. And render type. This is also pretty important, but it's also really cool. So you can make how it looks as an end portal, end gateway, anything that's in this list. You can make it translucent while glowing. But the one that I'm going to be looking for is cutout no coal. This is basically going to have the model itself. It's basically what a player is, a cutout. So I'm going to do cutout no coal. And you could say you're done now, but the problem is that it's going to show the model. That is good, but the player is also going to still be there. So I have one solution that I worked around with. You could either make the player have an invisibility potion as well whenever you use it, but it would remove, like, if you have a cape physics and all that. So workspace, resources, I have it to where there is an invisible skin for the entity. So we'll do for the player. So we'll do import textures, entity textures, and then I'm going to import the invisible skin. All right, so here we have the little invisible skin. It just looks like this. Not much, but it's basically going to make the player invisible. So what we can go ahead and do is go back to set player model. On player rendered, render copy of player model, and then go here. Now the problem is that the derp texture, it's going to use that, so it's just going to be that Funny Steve. So what we need to do, like I said before, go to variables, add new variable, global session, and then texture location. So this is going to be invisible skin. I'm just going to name it that. So go back to set player's model. Okay, so then once you do that, it won't show the variable yet. Here's why. Because we need to put this out so that we can save the mod element. Go to set variables. You can duplicate this so it's easier. Set global invisible skin to invisible skin texture, which is what I had it set to. So we can save the mod element now. Set player's model. Go here. Invisible skin, and then for the render type, this, do the same thing, cut out no coal, and then save mod element, and you're done with that. Now this mod has a lot more stuff, but I'm just getting down with the basics. There's a lot more stuff like unarmed rendered. For this, what you do is instead of on player rendering, rendered, you do on arm rendering. So then there's like model procedures, get an instance of entity model, which is how we set the model, on entity rendered, on hitbox calculated. This is also pretty interesting. You can calculate the hitbox for the model. There might be, yes, on an entity hitbox calculated. Now these are all going to be for separate procedures. So on player rendered, this is the procedure that will be for the player. You will have separate procedures for like one for the arm rendered, on the hitbox rendered, on the entity rendered, all this stuff. So you can save that. We can go ahead and test it out in the game and see if it works. Okay, so here we are in the game. And I'll go ahead and type in, go to search items and go to find a strength potion. So let's see, let's find one that's kind of short. How about this one? It's 22 seconds. So as you see, got the potion. I'm going to fling it over there, walk into it. And as you can see, I am beautiful. So yeah, as you can see, the entity and the visibility texture has worked perfectly. And so now it is just the model. And as you can see, whenever I swing my arm, everything gets flung. I crouch down, it does that. Hope you guys enjoyed, and see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.